Good evening. The Cypress-Fairbanks Independent School District Board of Trustees is now convened in a regular board meeting on Monday, October 9th, 2023, in the boardroom of the Cypress-Fairbanks Independent School District Mark Henry Administration Building, located at 11440 Matsky Road, Cypress, Texas, at 6 p.m. I want to welcome the members of our audience and our television viewers to this meeting of the Board of Trustees. As the Cypress-Fairbanks Board of Trustees, we are here to set goals, listen to reports, approve budgets, contracts, personnel appointments, and make policy for the district. It is not the role of the board to make day-to-day operational decisions. The management and day-to-day operations of the district are the responsibility of the superintendent. We have policies and procedures in place to resolve concerns and issues. This is a public meeting of the Board of Trustees, not a meeting of the public. The meeting is open to all who wish to attend and hear the matters discussed. Audience members may not participate in the meeting outside the designated agenda items for citizen participation or public comment. Disruption of the meeting by any person, including the audience, is inappropriate and will be addressed by the board president or the board's counsel as a meeting parliamentarian. Continued or repeated disruption of any board meeting by words or actions may result in removal or loss of the privilege to attend the meeting. Prior to this meeting, board members received information related to items on tonight's agenda. Agenda items will not necessarily be handled in the order listed on the notice. During the course of this meeting, the board may determine that a closed session is necessary. In that event, the board will meet in closed session to consider matters duly posted for this meeting, as permitted by sections 551.071 through 551.084 of the Texas Government Code. These proceedings are airing live on the district website. They'll also be available as video on demand on the district website following tonight's meeting. For the video to adequately reflect the proceedings, I respectfully ask you please refrain from talking while others are speaking, and that cell phones are turned off or in silent mode. If you would, check your phones like I am. Mine was on. Thank you for taking the time to join us this evening and for your interest in the Cypress-Fairbanks Independent School District. This evening, other than those at the board dais, we have no elected officials or their representatives in the room. We have no Boy Scouts and no Girl Scouts. At each open meeting of the board, patrons who have registered in accordance with the procedures established by BED regulation may address the board during the designated agenda comments period prior to the board's consideration or action on the item. Unless the agenda is otherwise rearranged by the board president during the meeting, agenda comments will generally be taken prior to each agenda item. Also, in accordance with the procedures established by BED regulation, patrons may address the board during citizen participation on any matters of interest or concern that are not posted agenda items. Unless the agenda is otherwise rearranged by the board president during the meeting, citizen participation will generally be held after reports and action items. For detailed information and instructions on registering to speak under agenda comments and citizen participation, please go to the district website at www.cfisd.net. Patrons who have registered to speak this evening may see the order of names listed on the screen behind me. Before your name is called, please move forward and sit in one of the two reserved seats on the front row to my right. When you approach the podium, and as you can see there are two, one to my right and one to my left, you will see a monitor inside the podium. When it is your time to begin speaking, a digital presentation timer will be displayed at the top of the monitor. The timer will be set in accordance with the number of speakers registered this evening. There will be a 30-second and a 15-second warning light on the monitor to wrap up your comments. Invocation and Pledge of Allegiance. The invocation for tonight's board meeting will be given by Larry Womack, interim pastor of Westway Baptist Church. Prior to Westway, Pastor Larry served as the founding pastor of Copperfield Church for 28 years and retired in 2019. He is married to Dr. Pamela Womack, who is retired from Lone Star College. They have 3 grown sons who attended school in Cyfair ISD. Their son, Philip Womack, teaches chemistry at Jersey Village High School, and their first grandchild is starting kindergarten at CFISD this year. Members of Westway Baptist serve at Cy Ridge High School, Francone Elementary, and Wilburn Elementary. Thank you, Larry, and it's good to see you again. Thank you for being here this evening. Before the invocation, I would like to introduce the Cypress Woods High School Air Force JROTC cadets who will be presenting the colors this evening. Performing this detail is Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Colby England, Cadet Captain Holden Palmer, Cadet Second Lieutenant Gerard Telemes, and Cadet Major Tristan Huffman. These cadets present the colors to you under the direction of Master Sergeant USAF retired Christopher Soto. At this time, I would ask for you to please stand for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to come together and be with these friends and partners in education. Lord, we ask you to bless our school board. We thank you for Dr. Henry and his leadership. Lord, we ask you to guide the meeting that will honor you. We pray for wisdom and strength to carry out the responsibilities they must carry out. Help us to be good citizens and good stewards in Cypher ISD. We ask you to guide all that we do, and we ask this in the precious name of Jesus. Amen.
Board Vice President Julie Heineman will now read the district's vision and mission statement.
Our vision at CFISD is formed from the acronym LEAD, to learn, empower, achieve, dream, lead. Our mission is to maximize every student's potential through rigorous and relevant learning experiences, preparing students to be 21st century global leaders.
We will now proceed with the remarks and recognitions portion of the agenda. There are no speakers under recognitions this evening. Item 1A. The superintendent will make remarks and announcements regarding the honors and achievements earned by staff and students in recent weeks and provide information regarding district and community events or items of interest. Dr. Mark Henry.
Thank you, Mr. President. Before I start my formal comments, I do want to add to what Mr. Jackson said. Larry, it's so good to see you today. We've had such a strong, healthy relationship between the school and the faith-based community, and Larry's a big part of that. In my time here, Larry's helped serve on long-range planning committees and faith-based committees. And, you know, Larry, you'd be impressed. I was paying attention yesterday in church, and I wrote down a scripture I heard from Proverbs from my pastor that said, "He is a shield to those who walk in integrity." And I don't know anybody that walks with more integrity than you do. And thank you so much for everything that you've done for our community and Cypher ISD. The month of September produced some great moments. Please enjoy this September recap video highlighting how our students and staff brought out the best. As you saw from one of the little clips there, we were proud to host the Texas Education Agency Chief Academic Advisory Council meeting on September 18th. And of course, the Commissioner of Education was here at part of that time to visit. And as he always does, he said if the entire state did things like Cypress-Fairbanks ISD, he wouldn't have a job. So we were always proud to hear that. And here's a video recap of that visit.
On September 18th, the Texas Education Agency Chief Academic Officer Advisory Council had the opportunity to visit several CFISD's campuses, including the Carlton Center, Cypress Ridge High School, and Arnold Middle School. The visit included TEA Commissioner Mike Morath.
I actually love being able to visit classrooms and really the entire system that is in Cypress-Fairbanks. This is one of the most well-run, one of the most effective school systems that we have in the state. It's an example of what can be true when leadership is fully committed to delivering results for all children in all areas. And so what I was able to see during this visit was extremely high levels of student engagement, both academically and in career and technology education. We actually spent a lot of time in special education classrooms. So we think about some of the resource room environments, some of the in-classroom supports that were provided in a push-in model, as well as some of the transition support. What y'all have set up, which is I think very unique, is you have high school students, these are juniors and seniors that are going through their program of study for early childhood education. And of course you have your very skilled teachers in the classroom at the same time, but you actually run that as a pre-K, as an early childhood center for paying customers, as it were. This is such a really smart way of both giving your high school students embedded work experience in a field while also meeting the needs of your community. It's sort of a 2-for-1 special, and that's one of those things that we just need to be doing everywhere across the state. It's inspiring to see our committed educators doing what they do best to help our young people become the best versions of themselves.
The bringing out the best character trait for the month of October is reliability. Thank you to all of our campuses for emphasizing strong character for all CFISD students. 25 CFISD seniors representing 7 high schools were confirmed as semifinalists in the 69th Annual National Merit Scholarship Program. The 25 finalists are among 16,000 students throughout the U.S. who placed among the top 1% of approximately 1.5 million students who entered the merit program by taking the PSAT during their junior year. Congratulations to all of our semifinalists. The annual college night was held October 3rd at the Berry Center, allowing students and parents to meet with representatives from hundreds of colleges, universities, and military and technical schools. More than 2,100 visitors attended the event. Watch this brief recap from college night.
Tonight's our annual college night. We have roughly 200 or so colleges and universities present this evening. They're ranging from the East Coast to the West Coast, here down south, as well as in the Midwest. And believe it or not, we have quite a few colleges and universities from overseas present.
I'm just really excited about learning what's out there for me and exploring what majors I'm interested in. Especially for me, I'm interested in architecture, so it's all about looking at the schools that are best fit for me and my plans in the future.
Some kids can see it as so far away, but it's really very close. So just to get here, talk to some of the college recruiters and see what the requirements is and get them excited, for its future.
200 or so colleges and universities under one roof, which I think is amazing. CFISD continues to do amazing things. Tonight we see again, and we've heard again from the recruiters, that they bypass other college nights to come to the one that we host in CFISD.
National School Lunch Week is this week, October 9th through 13th, celebrating the National School Lunch Program that serves nearly 30 million children every day and the importance of healthy school lunch. CFISD's Nutrition Services team serves more than 105,000 meals each day. This year's theme is Power Up with School Lunch, and they are celebrating by serving students favorite and new house-made items and highlighting the great work the cafe, production center, and warehouse teams do every day. October 16th through 20th is designated as National School Bus Safety Week, a public education program addressing the importance of school bus safety. The 2023 theme is Safely Rolling to My Destination. A reminder that Monday, October 16th is designated as a teacher work day. I don't want to have that HISD problem they had today. So I'm going to start that over. A reminder that Monday, October 16th is a designated teacher work day and a student holiday. During the week of October 23rd through 27th, CFISD will participate in Red Ribbon Week activities. The National Family Partnership organized the first nationwide Red Ribbon campaign as a way for people and communities to unite and take a visible stand against drugs. The Red Ribbon Campaign, the largest drug prevention program in the nation, originated in 1985 and used a visual display of red ribbons as a symbol of intolerance towards the use of drugs. Along with celebrating Red Ribbon Week, CFISD will participate in National Bullying Prevention Month, a nationwide campaign founded in 2006 by Pacers National Bullying Prevention Center. The campaign is held during the month of October and unites communities around the world to educate and raise awareness of bullying prevention. Governor Greg Abbott has proclaimed this Wednesday, October 11th, as Education Human Resources Day, a day to recognize the importance of human resource professionals in education and celebrate the impact that they made on students, educators, and schools. And again, going off the script a little bit because I see several of them here today. We've been celebrating our principals this month in October. So any of you that are here today that are one of our 95 outstanding principals, please stand so we can acknowledge you. And that's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you, Dr. Henry. Item 1B, the board will recognize MUD Districts 70, 156, 173, and 264 for the donation of funds to Copeland Elementary School for the purchase and installation of a new piece of playground equipment. I was a MUD board director for 22 years, and for those of you all who are present, thank you for your service to the community. You protect a vital resource that everybody needs. And for any family, it's probably the second most precious resource that goes in that household, the first being their children, the second being potable water, and then what you all do with the effluent as well, returning it properly out to nature. And so for anybody who was an elected MUD board member, and I'm looking at Scott Henry, please join me out front so we can help recognize these wonderful individuals.
President Jackson, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Henry, tonight we are recognizing 4 MUD districts for their generosity and support of Copeland Elementary. Copeland Elementary school staff invited Copeland families and representatives from 4 MUD districts that serve the community to a picnic on the playground on August 17th to celebrate the installation of a new piece of equipment and publicly thank them for their help. During the 22-23 school year, a part of Copeland's large playground equipment fell and had to be removed. Stephanie Berger, Copeland principal, along with Lori Alexander, Copeland PTO president, saw an immediate need to purchase a new large piece of equipment in time for the new school year, but new help would be required to meet that need. We actively participate in two fundraisers a year to help meet the needs for school. For a piece of playground equipment this large, we knew it would take anywhere from 3 to 5 years for us to, as a school community, to raise enough money. So we decided to reach out for help with the additional funds, stated Alexander, PTO President. In addition to buying a new piece of equipment, Copeland was able to purchase a shade canopy that will be installed over the playground piece in October. We're so thankful for the support from our Copeland families, our PTO, and our 4 MUD districts for their generous donations. This piece of playground equipment, along with the shade canopy, will ensure that our students have a safe and fun place to play during recess for years to come. On behalf of CFISD, thank you for your generous donation to support Copeland Elementary, and would the following MUD district representatives please come forward? MUD 264, Director Chuck Brandman, and Donnice Hoffman. You want to do a group picture, or you can do some individuals? MUD 70, Buzz Lang and Stephanie Peters. And our last 2 MUDs look like they are not present, but MUD 156, Jeff Penny, and MUD 173, Director Rick Raymore. And Principal Berger and Lori, would you please join them for a photo, please? They're here. They're here? Oh, come on up. Jeff Penny, 156. James Robertson, thank you very much. Okay, now I'll group one with the ladies. Yes. Very skilled.
Hey, keep that down. I'm hiding.
Tell him, Chuck. Tell him.
I'll help you if you
I
need.
know, now they're all watching.
Item 1C, the board will recognize ICI Construction for the donation of funds to purchase school supplies for students in need. Presenter is Dawn Tryon, and I would ask my colleagues Lucas Scanlon and Julie Heineman to step down to help with the recognition.
Tonight, we are celebrating a gracious, humble business partner that utilizes its resources for this community to strengthen and enrich the quality of education for our students. On behalf of CFISD, I am thrilled to recognize ICI Construction, and specifically Melody Kelly and Bart Cobb, its president. ICI has an ongoing tradition of donating funds to CFISD at the completion of their construction projects. This donation is designated for the purchase of school supplies benefiting economically disadvantaged students. ICI's most recent gift of $10,000 continues the tradition of impacting the lives of students across the district, ensuring all CFISD students have an equal opportunity to succeed. Over the last 7 years, ICI has generously donated $170,000 to support our district. ICI designs and constructs safe, beautiful buildings that house our most precious assets, our students. On behalf of CFISD, thank you for your dedication to bringing out the best in our community. Melody Kelly, could you please come forward?
Item 1D, The board will recognize teaching and training students who have distinguished themselves by placing second and third at the Educators Rising National Conference in Orlando, Florida on June 29th through July 2nd, 2023. I would ask any of my colleagues who have taught on a paid basis for at least 1 or 2 semesters to please step down to help recognize these rising stars.
President Jackson, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Henry, it is a pleasure to present to you this evening the winners at the Educators Rising National Conference in Orlando, Florida. Students, would you please come up? These students are from Bridgeland High School, and the teacher is Stacy Morgan. Winning second place for their project on the learning challenges of anxiety in the classroom are Allison Barstow, Avery Owens, and Lauren Womack. Winning third place at the National Conference for their children's literature book that they illustrated and wrote in Braille are Ella Simmons and Victoria Mitchell, but unfortunately Victoria was not able to be with us tonight. These teaching and training students aspire to become educators, and they were competing in events that are directly related to their intended future professions. They are getting experience in excellence. As we congratulate these future teachers from Bridgeland High School, we would like their parents, friends, administrators, and teacher, Mrs. Stacy Morgan, to please stand and be recognized.
Dr. Stewart, do we need to go ahead and get them 4 contracts to sign?
Before we proceed with board comments, we're going to take a 3-minute break in case anybody does not wish to stay for the remaining portion of the board meeting. I will tell you it will be scintillating and you will miss something very significant, but if you want to go ahead and leave now, we won't take your name down. That does not apply to anybody up here on the board dais. So that's your 30-second warning. Before we proceed with board comments, we will review the addendum, which was posted to the October 2023 board meeting agenda on Friday, October 6, 2023. Addendum. The board will provide an update on the superintendent search. There are no speakers on this topic this evening. A brief update on the superintendent search is in order. As you know, the board hired Thompson & Horton LLP to help identify superintendent candidates. Further, the board selected General Counsel Marnie Sims as facilitator. Focus groups were selected, input was solicited, received, and reviewed by the board. In addition, online input was solicited from all, and over 4,000 distinct responses were received. The board had an opportunity to review all 700 pages. The firm of Hanover provided a summary, and mention of details have been added to the website. The field has been narrowed, and we will conduct first-round interviews and then second-round interviews for a smaller number of candidates. This board will select the lone finalist, and the new board will finalize contractual details. This hybrid approach was selected by this board. We will now proceed with board comments. I'm going to start to my right. Mr. Henry.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome.
Mr. Henry, I'm very sorry. I apologize. We do have a speaker.
Oh, sorry.
I apologize. We have one speaker, Jennifer Chanette. Mr. Secretary, are you ready? Very good.
I'll make it really quick. Under this agenda item, board members can talk about meetings they have attended, as well as community events. I hope Lucas will speak tonight about the event he held yesterday in our neighborhood, a campaign event for Aisha and DeMeo. He even wore a T-shirt and held a sign, so I would like to hear all about that this evening if I could. Thank you.
Mr. Henry, and once again, I apologize.
No problem. One of the greatest pleasures of the role I have as a school board member is taking tours of schools. This aspect of my job allows me to witness the very essence of every school. It's something I hold in high regard. While we often receive reports highlighting the district's impressive achievements, visiting school offers a unique perspective that goes beyond the mere statistics. Walking through the hallways, both students and administrators guide me through a truly delightful experience. From Side Park to Sampson to Goodson to Mansky, I enjoyed them all, even the ones I didn't call out. Listening to student council members share their deep affection for the schools and hearing the administration proudly remark on the remarkable accomplishments of the dedicated teachers and staff is very heartwarming. I want to express my gratitude to all of the ones of our unsung heroes, the lunchroom crew. The tireless efforts of these folks go beyond the educational institutions. I never miss an opportunity to convey my thanks and appreciation for their hard work. Also want to extend my heartfelt thanks to all those who had the privilege of interacting with the numerous principals, assistant principals, librarians, teachers, coaches, janitors, lunchroom staff, even some parents who I recognized, and of course the students. Each interaction is a source of inspiration and also enlightenment. A special shout out goes to our own Matt, and I want to thank his staff for enlightening me on our tour of our transportation center. Witnessing the efficient and safe transportation of our students to and from destinations with the district is truly eye-opening. Our state-of-the-art facility is a testament to the commitment to the excellence in logistics. I must say, though, that the driving simulator for the buses was both exhilarating and nerve-wracking experience. I highly encourage every board member to go through it at their own peril. As a parent of a school child, I have the privilege of witnessing the incredible talent in our own schools. During both football games and numerous band competitions held each month. I'm proud to report that our Cypress-Fairbanks performed exceptionally well at the Bands of America and the other contests. I enjoyed watching, of course, Cy Woods, but also Bridgeland, Cy Fair, Cy Ranch, Cy Falls Band, and the Color Guard. I admire the staff, the students, and the parents getting up at sometimes 3:30 in the morning, like the parents, and going and then not leaving till 1 a.m. the next morning. Congrats on some very great scoring and some great wins. You know, parents, students have shown consistently and demonstrates that students who engage in extracurricular activities tend to excel academically. They acquire these essential skills such as time management, organization, which help them seamlessly apply to their schoolwork. Moreover, participation in band and other groups offer a chance to forge new friendships and establish a deep sense of belonging within our school community. To all the parents and students, I strongly encourage you to consider getting involved and staying involved in some form of extracurricular activity. These awards are significant. You may never know that decisions one day may help shape your future in the right paths right here in Cypher ISD. Thank you for your attention as we continue to help to create an enriching school environment for all of our students. Thank you.
Dr. Natalie Blassingame.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for those in attendance and those watching. Thank you for your interest in our school district and the very important work we have of educating our kids. I first want to thank our school-based staff. October is a really tough month in schools. The reality hits, you've done all your assessment and evaluation, and you're really just at that place where you're brainstorming all the things you can do to make sure each of your kids achieves what they need to achieve in the year, and that just takes an incredible amount of effort and time and coordination. And so teachers, other school, those who feed them, drive them there, principals during Principals Month, all of the administrative teams that support on campuses, thank you for all that you do. I definitely understand that it's not easy, all the assessment and stuff that is required so that we can get a good picture of where our kids are and where they're going. And so I definitely look forward to the data that's coming out of all that assessment, and we do stand with you. And at the state conference for administrators and school board trustees, the commissioner, who also visited our district, was there to speak, and I was very excited I wondered what he'd be talking about. He's been talking about reading for a while, but guess what he was talking about this time? Teachers are the single most important in-school factor impacting student outcomes. Not shocking, is it? Not surprising. Teachers are so critical, and I was very pleased that our commissioner is really looking at data to see how can we best support, how can we best compensate, how can we best make sure that we celebrate, honor, and maintain the teachers we have and attract people to our profession. It was so beautiful to see those young ladies tonight receiving an award, because that is the future of our profession right there, and they represent us well, and we want to make sure that we are making our profession attractive, trusting teachers as professionals to make decisions so that we can both serve kids well and attract people to our profession. So thank you to teachers and all campus-based staff for your work. I also want to thank the Berry Center and the Cypher Federal Credit Union Stadium staff. I also have the privilege and the enjoyment of having Friday Night Lights as a parent and as a trustee. I was even invited to, I am wearing red today. Do not mistake it for Langham Creek red, because it is actually crimson of Cywood's. Challenge accepted by my colleague here. We may not have won the game, but it was just such a wonderful, it's just so wonderful to see the level of professionalism. I want to celebrate Beth and her staff. They go above and beyond always to make sure that every patron, every parent has an incredible experience, every student is safe, and that we are just having just another opportunity, as Dr. Henry always says, to grow our students and our extracurricular. And you just see it on such grand display on a Friday night. Any of you who doesn't have a reason to attend, go out there. The weather's so nice, and you just really it's a refreshing to see all the potential and all the excitement and all the youth of our district and what they're able to do and how well we support them in that. Also was happy to see Pastor Larry. He's gone now, but Pastor Larry was one of the original pastors of the Adopt a School program for Hair Grove. Copperfield Church and Calvary Community Church have done that for 11 or 12 years and made such a difference in the school. So once again, I recommend any group that is looking, anyone that can, Don Tryon has a great system for capturing, but we recommend anyone who can to adopt a school, because it's definitely one of the most, it's a very promising and tangible way to go ahead and contribute to the schools in our district and know that you made a difference. I also want to thank the team that put on the college night. That was very well attended, and it definitely was, it showed our district well to colleges, but definitely our students had an opportunity. It was well managed, the number of tables, everything that allowed them to have a guaranteed opportunity to speak to recruiters and understand the different options ahead of them. And that is, even seeing the video and understanding that they prioritize coming to Cypher's night is just a benefit for our students, and so I want to thank all the staff that put that on. That's the end of my comments. Thank you so much.
Mr. Sarabia.
Welcome everybody here. I want to start with this past weekend. The weather was fantastic, and my yard finally got rain. Water bill had been high for a little bit though, but we got some rain. That was great. The games throughout the state, throughout our district and area were fantastic. And I know a lot of people were out and about enjoying the nice change that was very well welcome. Got a chance to go to my last conference in Dallas, and I got to go to quite a few sessions that I attended. Some were security, but the district already does everything on the security level that they were talking about. And then I went to a CTE session, and the district already does that as well. And it seems that it's a very good conference to get informed, but our district, like Commissioner Morath said, if many of the districts were like ours, that he'd be out of a job, because our district is absolutely run fantastic. Got me wondering, as we go into the final weeks of our superintendent search, when Dr. Henry was chosen, and he came from Galena Park. And it's not necessary to pick a winner from a big district, but just to pick a winner. In collaboration, did he come here and make the district better? Yes. But the district, I would think, also made him better. In collaboration is what we have now, working as a team together. And that is some foresight that I like to think that this board can accomplish before we get out of here at the end of fall. It was the last conference that the superintendent would be attending, and it was nice visiting with him, as I hold him in very high regard as one of the best persons I have ever come across, bar none. We're going to go back to what Commissioner Morath said. Our community is diverse. It's a very diverse. How many dialects do we have, Linda? Over 100 different dialects in our community. Hard to believe, but it is a very diverse community, and I applaud that. It's a challenge always, every day, working with so many different backgrounds to come together for one go. I want to go to the big event later on this month, as we have early voting coming up. Early voting means early voting before the November election. It is imperative that the eligible voters we have here in our community go out and participate in what our forefathers, our fathers, our grandfathers, our uncles, we all fought for and pray for. Go out there and make your voice heard. Please, the employees of our district and educators, spend a little time and do a little bit of background checks. It's just all you have to do, and you would get steered in the right direction. There were some very fine candidates running that will make excellent trustees. Lastly, like all of y'all, I pray for peace in the Middle East. I've been consumed the last 36 hours as I visited there in 2018, the old city of Jerusalem, and to find people that live there. I visited with Palestinians, Jewish people, Christians, no matter what, they're there. And a very sad thing that happened over there, and we pray for peace over there. It's going to be a while, but it's troubling knowing that we are very fortunate where we're at here. We are in a good place, and I just wanted to end with that, with our prayers going towards everybody involved in the tragedy that has happened over there in the Middle East. Tom.
To my left, Mr. Scanlon.
Thank you. I'll keep my comments brief. Over the next month, I'm sure as all of us will, we'll have the opportunities to interact with our various programs, and so I know that I'll be working with students in school, as well as visiting some of our after-school activities. And every time we do, it's always excellent to see the unique culture of every single school. When we go to our graduations, you get a chance to see how every school has their own identities. And we attend all of our football games, attend those competitions. That school culture comes out, and thankfully, gratitude to our principals and the staff on those campuses that help deliver that culture. I'm very excited about what we're bringing. I wanted to address something that you addressed, Mr. Sarabia. This board is committed to finding a great candidate for our district. And in this month, we're going to be spending a lot of time together. I'm sure no one is surprised by that. We'll be spending a lot of time together working through tough questions and working with candidates, spending time with them to get to know them, working towards a great solution for all of us, for all of our teachers, our administrators, and most importantly, our students and families. So we are committed to presenting to the future board a candidate that is strong and will do great for this district. So with that said, I look forward to that process. Thank you.
Ms. Blackshear.
Well, we're into our second month of school, and I would like to congratulate our principals, our administrators, and our teachers on such a smooth start to school. I haven't received any phone calls or heard complaints, and everything seemingly has gone very smoothly. And I congratulate our principals, since this is our month, to highlight them for the great job of leadership. You know, leading is not an easy job, and not everyone can lead. And Mr. Sarabia, when you talked earlier, I remember the comments of my board chairman when I was named president of Cypress-Fairbanks Federal Credit Union many moons ago. And the thing he said to me was, a smart leader surrounds himself with even smarter people. And I took that to heart, and it's what I always did. And we were very successful. And I feel that that's what Dr. Henry has done with his administrative team. And I want you to know how much I appreciate how you all work so greatly together. It's really a privilege as a board trustee to work with this team. Thinking back to Dawn Tryon tonight, honoring the groups, the mud districts that provided equipment to Copeland Elementary. We have a very great Partners in Education program in our district. And I know my church has 3 schools we adopted, and back on the September Teacher Work Day, I had the honor, along with some other ladies from my church, of serving breakfast tacos to the staff at Danish Elementary. We had another group who had already done Kirk Elementary and ALC East. But it's such a great program, and it's just the little things that make such a difference for our teachers and our staff, to let them know that they are appreciated for what they do every day. Because I have not, I've been in a classroom as a reader for 30 minutes a week, but I know just serving as a bus buddy in years past really gave me a new appreciation for our bus drivers and what they, maybe should I say, endure or go through from time to time with students. But I really feel that we have a great group of educators in Cypress-Fairbanks ISD. And over the past month, I've attended 3 different football games. I got to watch Bridgeland and Cy Fair, and then Cy Falls and Cy Lake, and then Bridgeland, and I don't know who they played that week. Can't remember. I was too busy watching my granddaughter cheer, trying to find her in the group. But anyway, I want to give a shout out because I see the band performances. I want to give a shout out to Cy Lakes High School's band director. They were amazing. I come from the, as my grandkids would say, the olden days when I was in a drill team. We wore wool uniforms here in Houston, Texas. I was a Reagan Redcoat. If any of you are familiar, it's now called Heights High. But we had to have straight lines, and we were drum and bugle corps. And boy, if we didn't have a straight line, did we ever hear it from our sponsor on Monday. So it was so great to see Cy Lakes and march out on the field like I feel a band should. And I was watching for those straight lines, and they had them. And so kudos to the program at Cy Lakes High School. Miss Bellamy, y'all are doing a great job there. And I look forward to visiting a few schools before I roll off the board in December. But thank you very much for being here tonight. And it's always a great night when we can celebrate student success like we did tonight. Thank you.
Ms. Heineman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Since the last board meeting in September, I've continued my weekly mentoring of students at Cy Falls and Cy Park High School. I was invited to read to students at Sheridan Elementary and at Hamilton Elementary, where the topic of discussion was how to be a good citizen. So we picked a great book about that, and then we had some great discussion with students about what it means to be a good citizen. I've started my official board visits. I've been to Post Elementary, Kirk Elementary, Hancock Elementary, Millsap Elementary, and Cy Creek Elementary, or high school, sorry, Cougars. High school so far. I was able to attend the YET conference at the Berry Center. YET is our Young Educators of Tomorrow conference. We brought in 400 high school students who are on that pathway to become educators themselves. We brought them to the Berry Center to do professional development. And so they got to do a PD conference just like our teachers get to do. And it was a great experience, I think, for them. It really validated their decisions to go into education. They got to meet with college representatives for different programs. And I think it was just very inspiring and confirming and validating for their decisions. And just as has been said before, our future is in good hands with these future educators. I joined staff members and chief academic officers from several other school districts at a dinner with the TEA commissioner. It's always good to network with other districts and to get that feedback about our programs. They were extremely impressed with not just our CTE and special education programs, but our new arrival centers as well. I attended the first district-wide Educational Improvement Council meeting of the year, so thank you to the 153 members who are part of that committee. It's teachers, parents, community members, business leaders who provide counsel to our administration when we have big decisions to make. As my peers have done, I've attended several football games for Cy Woods, Cy Ranch, Cy Springs, Cy Park, Jersey Village, Cy Fair High School, and Cy Ridge so far. I attended the September meeting of the Community Leadership Committee. We received a thorough explanation of the 2023 STAR test results. Thank you, Dr. Macias, as well as proposed changes to the state accountability system, which that's something we definitely need to keep our eye on and make sure that we're communicating these changes to our community. I did, after that meeting, jumped into the lead golf cart for the incredible Cy Fair High School Homecoming Parade. That's a really unique event. I mean, that's the mothership, right? That's our oldest high school, and they have a fantastic parade that the floats go by Lampkin Elementary and Arnold Middle School, so those students were outside cheering for the players and the band and the drill team and the staff, and it was a lot of fun. And Dr. Henry was the Grand Marshal with the top hat and the sash and all the things. That was fun. And then end of the month, greeting community members alongside our Cy Fair ISD police officers at the Coffee with a Cop event. I encourage you to attend those events if you can. They typically hold regular get-togethers at coffee shops around our community, and it's a great way to connect with our officers and to have a chance to say thank you to them as well. Because the November board meeting is going to be unique due to its timing, I'm just going to give a quick sneak peek of what's coming up next month. On Wednesday, I will be representing Cy-Fair ISD on a panel discussion at Lone Star College. I'll be on the panel alongside trustees from Klein and Tomball ISD to talk about the importance of the decisions that school board trustees make and the impact on our community. So I encourage you to check that out. I'm volunteering at the book fair at Wilburn. I'll be at Side Lakes High School tomorrow, as well as I'll be at Anthony, Metcalf, Woodard, and Farney Elementary. Also going to pop into Yeager to read, and the Blyle Middle School is celebrating their 50th anniversary this month. So keep an eye out for that, as well as dedications for Brosnahan Elementary and Sprague Middle School. So that's it from a calendar standpoint. I just want to remind everyone to please pay attention to the special session that started today in Austin. The governor called a special session. The primary focus that impacts us is the plan to have vouchers, or the name that they're using is Education Savings Account, but they're in essence vouchers. This is a way for the state to divert money intended for public schools and redirect that money to private organizations that lack the same academic and financial transparency and accountability as public schools do. So I encourage you to be informed about that. Contact your elected officials within our state government and let them know how you feel about that. We've seen it remarketed as school choice, and I think it's important that we understand that we already have school choice in Texas. As parents, we can choose to send our students to public schools, private schools, charter schools, or homeschool. With vouchers or education savings account, it's really the school's choice. The private schools will choose what students they will accept. So if your student can pass the test and won't get into any discipline problems, you might have a chance to get in with your voucher, but it may not cover the cost of the tuition, and you have to provide your own transportation. So there's a lot of inequities and inconsistencies, which doesn't feel very conservative to me when we're talking about public dollars going to organizations that lack financial and academic transparency and accountability. I also encourage you when those bills come out to read them. What we've seen in the past is that there's an added layer of bureaucracy where vendors or another organization, even the state comptroller, may take 3 to 5% off the top for administrative costs. So it really devalues the value of those vouchers anyway. So I encourage you to be informed, be engaged, and to use your voice with our elected officials in Austin, especially over these next couple of weeks when these vouchers are being considered in the Capitol. Thank you.
Mr. Sarabia?
Yes, I forgot, and I wanted to mention, at the state conference, Natalie got a chance to do a presentation with some friends from another district, and I wanted to applaud her for being brave and presenting on her session there, her subject. And she also had 9 well-attended Cy-Fair district employees and trustees there in attendance to wish her the best and her quest there to help serve there as well. And on the last thing, no vouchers. Thank you.
I made all of my normal stops, many of which I was at events along with my fellow colleagues. Tonight I'm going to talk about only 2 items. One, political season is high upon us. Let us be clear that we want to be as accurate as we can be. For example, an elected legislator made a reference to me when I requested from him additional legislation was probably going to be needed. But let me remind him, our policies and procedures were in place and being acted on long before that legislation of his was ever debated. My minister was wrong when he said that divorce was a pipeline to prison. Politicians are wrong when they infer that not passing the STAR test is a pipeline to prison as well. The STAR test is not a life predictor. I taught statistics at the corporate level. Comparisons do not make a correlation. A correlation does not prove causality. The second area that I wanted to touch on were key takeaways from the TASB conference. I too wanted to say thank you to my colleague Natalie. This board, for the 12 years of which I've been a member, we have presented, I think, at every one of the 12 TASA TASB conferences. I was privileged to talk about pre-K, but also about the perils of being a fast-growing district. And so I appreciate the fact that board members continue to step up. Some of the sessions I attended that I thought were of consequence: artificial intelligence. The basic takeaway here was be cognizant of it and look for changes. I look forward to the day in the near future where AI can be more useful in advancing attainment of students by being more focused to enhance strengths and shore up weaknesses more successfully than that which is currently available. When I was in grad school many years ago at Texas, I actually was part of a grant to try and code some software in this regard. And although that was rudimentary, the possibilities of AI were clear then and they're clear now. It is for the good and we will embrace it. 2, revised and retroactive district campus evaluation standards. The basic message from that panel discussion was keep positive. Let us remember that Cypress-Fairbanks as a district has earned an A rating 3 times, 2 of those with an asterisk. The school my children graduated from was named one of the best in the United States. But by the same token, under the revised and retroactive new evaluation system, it identifies it as being a very poor achiever. For that reason, but also others like it, I voted in favor of the lawsuit, and I'm pleased to say that the vote was unanimous by this board. 3, the commissioner is all in on differentiated pay. We have started the process. It will continue. It is a competitive necessity. I will make note of the fact that our neighbor has started to initiate differentiated pay among principals. As a board, we need to be cognizant of the fact that probably our pay scale at the campus administration level may not be as competitive as we want it to be. 4, Socorro ISD has adopted an integrated teacher evaluation curriculum and student attainment model, which is remarkably similar to that currently in use by Dr. Macias in her department. What was significant is once they had adopted that model and had it ongoing with fidelity for several years, success started rolling in, and their district, just like ours in the Senate hearings, were recognized as districts that were doing far more with far less. 5, Exeter ISD that I was privileged to visit with the board and admin as part of Leadership TASB. At that time, the concern was over the teacher shortage. They unveiled their answer to the teacher shortage, which is in their 2nd year, and it is proving to be successful. I'm pleased to note that many of those pieces are already in place here, and that some have been under review by Dr. Stewart's group, and I look forward to a more complete rollout of these. And of course, finally, this is the time period where we get to say thank you to our principals. Harvard University has come out and said, with statistics to back it up, in all deference to Commissioner Morath, who I hold in high regard, the one person on any campus who can do the most for student attainment is that principal. And so to the campus leadership, we are well aware that you are the ones who have to make it happen. You have to guide your staff. You have to shield them from pressure. And when times are hard, it's your job to put a smile on their face the best you can. So tonight, I tip my hat to all of the principals but also their A-team at our 92 campuses. Thank you. Item 3B of the reports portion of the agenda was presented at the board work session on Thursday, October 5th, 2023. I will now present item 3A under reports. In accordance with Texas Education Code and State Board of Education regulations, the president of the board shall announce the name of each board member who has completed, exceeded, or who is deficient in the continuing education required under state law. Our top earner of continuing education hours is Dr. Natalie Blassingame with 53.75. Debbie Blackshear has 11.0, Scott Henry has 23.75, Julie Heineman has 43 hours, Tom Jackson has 29.25, Gilbert Sarabia has 15, Lucas Scanlon has 21.25. I am pleased to report that everybody on the board dais has completed the required hours in all categories, with one odd exception, that of team building. We're required to have 3 hours of team building. However, we have had many sessions already with the entire team, and had we planned better, we could have called this team building. So we have the hours in, but we haven't quite been able to check the box. Prior to tonight's meeting, I did contact each of my colleagues with the question, do we want to schedule a team building for the current board, or does it make sense to postpone that for the newly elected board and the soon-to-be newly hired superintendent? I did receive responses back from all, and if necessary, we will schedule a team of 8 training to satisfy this requirement. That concludes that report. The public hearing portion of the agenda was presented at the board work session on Thursday. However, we have one speaker for our item 4B. Our speaker is Isaiah Indemayo. Mr. Secretary, are you ready? Very good. You may proceed when you want.
Oh, okay, that's new.
And please start the time over.
Okay, I came here tonight to say that teacher legal protections could be in danger if Cypher-ISD becomes a district of innovation. I want to share the info from TCTA, Texas Classroom Teachers Association. They nicknamed it the District of Exemption. In 3 districts, Huntsville, Big Springs, Coppell, they exempted themselves from the law that requires teachers to employ teachers under contract. Even worse, in Anthony ISD, they exempted themselves from the entire Chapter 21 of the Texas Education Code, where they don't have to hire under contract, they don't have to hire certified teachers even in core areas, they don't have to follow due process when firing a teacher, and they don't have to pay state minimum required salaries or provide planning and preparation periods. If this can happen in Chapter 21, it could also happen to Chapter 26, which is a parental rights part of the Education Code. If we do designate Cypher-ISD as a district of innovation, every exemption the administration seeks needs to be 100% transparent to teachers and parents, and the board must vote on it. Otherwise, people won't trust the district, and we really need to have trust to thrive. Thank you.
That item 4B was the board will hold a public hearing at 6 p.m. on Thursday, October 5th, 2023, to consider whether the district should develop a local innovation plan for the designation of the district as a district of innovation. We shall now proceed with action items portion of the agenda. Action items 5A through 5E, 5G, 5J through 5P were moved to consensus at the board work session on Thursday. I will now read those items. 5A, the board will consider approving the minutes of the September 7th, 2023 board work session. No speakers. 5B, the board will consider approving the minutes of the September 11, 2023 regular board meeting. No speakers. 5C, the board will consider approving the minutes of the September 2023 special called board meeting. There are no speakers. 5D, the board will consider approving an agreement between Harris County and Cypress-Fairbanks Independent School District relating to general and special elections to be held on November 7, 2023. There are no speakers. 5E, the board will consider approving the 2023 certified tax rolls and estimated collection rates for 2023 to be 100% and the 2022 excess debt collection rate to be 0. There are no speakers. 5G, the board will consider approving on first reading additions, revisions, or deletions to district policies. There are no speakers. 5G1, CLB local buildings, grounds, and equipment management, maintenance, revise. 5G2, GKD local community relations, non-school use of school facilities, revise. 5J, the board will consider approving the issuance of a career and technical education teaching permit to applicants in lieu of standard teaching certifications as established by law. No speakers. 5K, the board will consider approving the shared service arrangement between Cypress-Fairbanks ISD and Lone Star College. There are no speakers. 5L, the board will consider approving the granting of a temporary construction license to Harris County for the purpose of driveway regrading at Swinkie Elementary School and authorize the superintendent or designee to negotiate the final terms and execute all related documents. No speakers. 5M, the board will consider approving the granting of temporary construction easement to Harris County located at Swinkie Elementary School along Shield Road and authorize the superintendent or designee to negotiate the final terms and execute all related documents. No speakers. 5N, the board will consider approving construction proposals and contracts paid from bond funds to the recommended contractors and authorize the superintendent or designee to execute all necessary documents related to such contracts. As follows: 5N1, 2023 Barker Cypress and West Green Transportation and Telge Ag Centers renovation. No speakers. 5O, the board will consider approving bids and contracts and or authorizing purchase orders as recommended in the posted agenda item. No speakers. Those subpoints: 501 CFISD LTE 1-to-1 program Chromebook quote, 502 demographic services, 503 installation services. 5P, the board will consider authorizing the superintendent to execute a memorandum of understanding with the Lamar University for student-teacher placements. No speakers. Finally, if any board member wishes to remove one of these items for further discussion, please do so at this time. I see no interest. If not, I will now entertain a motion to approve the consensus items as recommended or amended.
Mr. President, I move that the board approves the consensus items as recommended.
Motion has been made. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion on any of these items or comments? Hearing none, I will now call for a vote. All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Holly, it passes unanimously. The following action items remained on non-consensus. 5F, the board will consider the 2023 tax rate resolution to support the 2023-2024 maintenance and operations and debt service budgets by setting the 2023 M&O and interest and sinking tax rates. There are no speakers this evening. We had a presentation Thursday night, and we had a very good discussion. May I have a motion?
Mr. President, I move that the board adopts the 2023-2024 maintenance and operations and debt service budgets by setting the 2023 M&O and interest and sinking rates tax rates as presented by the district.
Now, this is a legal requirement. Did we get all the words, Karen? Very good. Motion has been made. Is there a second?
I second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion on this topic? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Holly, it passes unanimously. (5H), the board will consider approving a resolution to initiate the process under Education Code Chapter 12A to become a district of innovation. We have one speaker, but I've been notified that that speaker will not be speaking tonight, And so we have a presentation. Do we have a presentation tonight, Dr.?
No, sir, we do not have a presentation on this. This is the resolution that kind of goes parallel with the
Right.
presentation we did on
We
Thursday.
did have a presentation on Thursday. I will now entertain a motion to approve the resolution.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
President Jackson, I motion that we entertain the resolution regarding becoming a district of innovation.
Very good. Is there a second?
I second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion on this item? Hearing none.
Mr. Jackson, I do.
Yes,
We both do. Go ahead.
Ms. Heineman.
Yes, I just want to, we did have a lot of good discussion at the work session on Thursday. I encourage anyone who's interested in this topic to please watch the work session on Thursday, the video. I think there's a lot of questions that were asked and answered at that time. One thing that we, when we were discussing past discussions about becoming a district of innovation, one thing I recall, even from before when I was on the board, we discussed the need to become a district of innovation in order to have local control over our own calendar. One thing that Dr. Henry didn't mention on Thursday was we discussed waiting to see if the state legislature would change state law that would allow school districts to have control over their own calendars so that you wouldn't have to become a district of innovation to have control over your own calendar. We waited and we waited for several sessions, and that has not happened, which has put us in this position in which that we are one of the only districts in Texas that does not have the ability to control our own calendar. One thing that that also gives me concern is in the last legislative session there was some discussion, it did not move forward, of removing the ability to have control over your calendar from the DOI process, that not even being an option for the plan. So that window would be closed, and that was actually presented by a former state senator who used to be head of the state Senate Ed Committee and is now a lobbyist, a former Senator Larry Taylor. And so I think there is a window that we need to be aware of in case that window is closed in the future. Let's see if I had anything else I wanted to talk about that. I think that's it. I don't typically share how I'm going to vote in advance. I have a lot of concerns about this that I have grown to better understand over my time on the board. But I think in order for the board to make an informed decision, there has to be discussion within the community and there has to be input from teachers and key stakeholders. And in order to have that input, you have to start the process and pull the committee together. So just because I may vote to move the process forward doesn't mean I necessarily support it, but I think we need to make sure that we are engaging in the process where we can get input from key stakeholders. And the only way to do that in a transparent way is to pass the resolution and pull the committee together. Thank you.
Mr. Scanlon, did you have a comment, sir?
I do, sir. Echoing some of Trustee Heineman's comments. In our presentation on Thursday evening, we understood from Dr. Macias that the committee that we're actually recommending to do this is our DEIC committee, which is comprised of approximately 2/3 of teachers. Our focus here is what's good for the district, and we want to ensure that, per Ms. Heineman's comments, that we understand. We understand what the recommendations are going to be coming from that community, the community at large, pardon me. We understand what the recommendations are going to come from that committee. The community at large has the ability to discuss, process, and we get a chance to interact with not only our community, probably also other school districts that are DOI community or districts right now, as well as lawmakers. We are going to be very transparent about what the recommendations are going to be, and echoing Ms. Heineman's comments, just because I believe it is healthy to move forward and investigate doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to vote for doing it when it comes time. So our objective here is to create a great environment and a position for our district to do what is helpful to our teachers, our staff, our parents, our kids. So with that being said, it's going to be full transparency, and we look forward to hearing from our community.
Ms. Heineman.
Thank you. Just one other thing, I knew I had one more thing. Just to clarify, if you go on the TEA's website and do a little bit of research on Districts of Innovation, you will see exactly the chapters that are of the TEC, of the Texas Education Code, that are eligible for waivers. Chapter 26 is not on the list. You cannot waive Chapter 26 by becoming a District of Innovation.
Dr. Blasingham.
I would also say that this is such an issue of community input. I was really pleased to see that we had 4,580 or so people engaged in our survey to give feedback for our superintendent search and the strengths of our system and the concerns they have. And to me, that was so powerful because it's a fresh listen, a fresh ear to what is a concern or an interest of the community. And so for this District of Innovation, I did ask early on, I was intrigued by the idea of being able to be a little creative as a system. I did hear concerns around teachers, for teachers feeling security in their jobs, and we cannot afford for our teachers not to understand that they are protected and valued. So that is the only risk that we run, the greatest risk I would say that we would run with this. However, I felt comfortable, as Dr. Macias explained. I have served on the DEIC. I know it's a very orderly committee, and it has a lot of teacher. It has how many? 40.
There is a teacher from every single campus, and then there are parent and committee members represent every feeder pattern.
And so not every district committee do I think should be most heavily staffed for teachers. I think there's some things that should be, different kinds of input. But on this, I felt comfortable understanding that this committee, I know it's very well run by Dr. Macias and her team, and it is obviously every campus has a voice that represents the teachers in their building. And so that has helped me to feel like we can proceed in the process with teacher voice really valued. But I definitely am thankful to our community, and I like that we will continue to ask. I hope we can continue to ask the community for input on issues such as this. Thank you, Tom.
Mr. Henry?
Just a comment on this. I don't recall exactly, but when we were doing the counter committee, I don't remember this being a big issue. I know that we all went up to Austin as well to advocate for the district. If this was an issue, maybe next time tell us, and we will definitely talk to our legislators. I don't think this is, I know a lot of things are on the plate this year, but if this is a big thing, we probably need to go and change legislation and affect that change there more than anything. That's just my comment. This is probably a good priority to fix beyond the other things I think we're looking at. I think we're looking at 2 or 3 things, but that's only my comment. Thank you.
I know when DEI first was permitted, I spoke strongly. I'm sorry? DOI. DEIC. I spoke strongly against it from the board dais. That was many years ago. I did speak to the DEIC committee on 2 points. One, I wanted to explain why did I vote for the lawsuit to sue the state agency, but I also wanted to explain why I was in support of investigating the District of Innovation. And while I was there and when I spoke, a number of teachers did come up to me to express concern. But the way the process works is if we approve the DEIC as being the committee, they will have control over that which comes back to be presented to us. And if they do not approve it, it never comes to the board for consideration. So that is the safeguard. But of course, we as a board have to put that safeguard in, right? And so that'll be one of the items we vote on tonight. Is there further discussion under 5H? A motion has been made and seconded. Discussion has closed. I will now call for a vote. All in favor of the motion as presented, please signify by raising your right hand. Holly, it is unanimous. 5I. Here's the second part. The board will consider appointing an innovation plan committee to develop a local innovation plan or decline to pursue a designation as a district of innovation. There are no speakers on this topic this evening. Linda, there is not another presentation.
No, sir, there is not.
I will now entertain a motion.
Mr. President, I move that the board appoint an innovation plan committee with membership to be determined by the administration to deliver a local innovation plan or decline to pursue a designation as a district of innovation.
Motion has been made. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there discussion? Seeing none, I will now call for a vote. All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Holly, once again, it's unanimous. 5Q, the board will consider making a determination that good cause did not exist as required by law for Marlene Valdez, David Jones, Carlos Alvarado Ortuno, Tristina Sachs, and Deborah Denny to resign their respective employment contracts. This item was discussed in closed session pursuant to Section 551.074 on Thursday evening. There are no speakers on this topic this evening, so I will entertain a motion.
Mr. President, I move that the Board of Trustees render a finding under Texas Administrative Code, Chapter 249.17D, that good cause did not exist as required by Texas Education Code Sections 21.105C, 21.160C, or 21.210C for Marlene Valdez, David Jones, Carlos Alvarado Ortuno, Tristiana Sachs, and Deborah Denny to resign their respective employment contracts and notify these employees in accordance with the law that the district is submitting a complaint to the State Board of Educator Certification for contract abandonment.
Motion has been made. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I now will call for a vote. All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Holly, motion passes unanimously. We will now proceed with the citizen participation portions of the agenda. 6A, per BED, local patrons may address the board during the regular board meeting under citizen participation on any matters of interest or concerns that are not posted agenda items. Individuals may only register to speak one time per meeting and must register in advance. Just a reminder, patrons who have registered to speak this evening may see the order of names listed on the screen behind me. Before your name is called, please move forward and sit in one of the 2 reserved seats on the front row. We have 8 speakers this evening. Our first speaker is Dave Mahon. Mr. Secretary, are you ready? We're ready. Sir, you may proceed when you're ready.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. My name is David Mann, and I am both a Cypress resident and the father of a CF-ISD student. I would like to begin by thanking Dr. Henry for all of your many years of service, your sane and responsible leadership. You, sir, are a master of your trade, and you will be missed. I am a well-educated, highly articulate, and high-functioning member of society, largely because of the well-funded, high-quality public education I received. Public education is key not only to future economic success for our children, but to freedom and equality for all in our republic. If you don't understand that or believe it, you have no business on a board of trustees. The primary role of the board of trustees is to provide the governance necessary to preserve and, wherever possible, improve the public education delivered to all students in our community. If you don't believe that, you have no business on a board of trustees. School choice is nothing, and I know that's the legislature, but how a trustee believes regarding school choice speaks volumes. School choice is nothing more than a scheme to defund public education. I am from Arizona, where I witnessed firsthand the decimation of the public schools throughout the state under the guise of school choice, as well as continued direct budget reductions. There are now entire school campuses sitting empty, shut down, their students crammed into overcrowded classrooms at other schools in other school districts far from their own neighborhoods. Their parents are clamoring to enroll their children in other districts through open enrollment, which further strips their home districts of funding. If you support school choice or any other disruption in funding for public education, you have no business on this or any other board of trustees. The board of trustees is supposed to be nonpartisan, but right now there are right-wing PACs and other moneyed interests seeking to infiltrate the current election in this district, some of them not even from Texas.
Please wrap up your comments, sir.
to support candidates who seek to enforce dark ideologies, religious zealotry, and seeking to destroy the system from within the system. Those candidates and those who support them have no
Please
business
stop.
on this board.
Our next speaker is Francis Ramirez Romero.
Good evening, President Jackson, members of the board, Dr. Henry, and staff. I wear my Community Leadership Committee hat as I stand here to speak about public school funding. Today began the first day of the third called special session in the Texas Legislature. As many of you may know, our state legislature started with a $32 billion surplus at the beginning of the year when the 88th regular session began in January. Our state leaders prioritized this money to buy down property taxes at a cost of $18 billion. $0 were allocated to our public schools. Even after the state used $18 billion to buy down school district tax rates, they still have another $18 billion that could actually be used to raise the basic allotment, which is the per student amount paid by the state, so that our school districts can cover basic costs and pay their teachers and staff. One of the top priorities for this third called special session does not include additional funding for public schools. Instead, the focus will be on diverting more state funds away from public schools in the name of education savings accounts, or AKA vouchers. Whatever name they choose, the effect is always the same, taking much needed money away from our public education system. The CLC will be advocating against any legislation that allows public funds to pay for private schools, not requiring the same financial and academic accountability currently required of our public school districts. We ask our entire community to join the CLC's efforts in contacting our state representatives and state senators to let them know the Cypher ISD community, the community of the only large A-rated school district in Texas, opposes ESAs and vouchers. Join our text alerts by typing in at CLC 2023 to 81010. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Lisa Abuka.
Good evening. I stand before you today as a parent in a Title I neighborhood zoned to Hoover, Joel, Kayla, and Cy Springs to draw your attention to the lack of equity that is visible even from the streets as you drive past campuses. I would like to contrast the experience at Hoover Joel versus that of one at Pope. Both Hoover and Pope opened in 2017. A second and third grade parent at Hoover Joel will need to know 2 different buildings, 2 different principals, 2 different buses, 2 different sets of school rules, policies, procedures, versus a parent with a second and third grader at any other school that only has to know 1 building, 1 principal, 1 bus, and 1 set of rules, policies, procedures. This, in and of itself, is inequitable. Instead of building Hoover as a 2-story building to serve pre-K through 5th, like Pope, it is a 1-story building that only has pre-K through 2nd. There seemed like there would have been enough land to make Joel the home of the ALC and build an equitable building, but that was not the decision that was made. Over the course of this school year, I would like to further present comparisons between Hoover Joel and Pope that tell the story of inequity at Cypher ISD. I plan to look at playgrounds, boundary lines, PTOs, and booster clubs, and specifically the lack of standardization. We need standards applicable across all campuses to ensure equity because separate is not equal.
Our next speaker is Julie Ricks.
I would like to petition school board members to put on the agenda and vote for a full-time chaplain position in Cypher ISD. Texas has passed the Texas School Chaplain Act that allows for state-paid full-time chaplain position in every district, but the decision rests with each school board. A full-time chaplain will change the atmosphere and signals bringing back basic morality that is a counter to the woke agenda. The woke agenda is a vicious circle with evil being called good that has created so many problems such as pornography accessible in library and classrooms, division, victim mentality, lack of respect for authority and oneself, discipline issues, teachers who've had enough and left, and in general, a lack of morality and safety for all. Anti-victimization instruction is an example of the latest attempt to fix a problem created by the woke agenda. Again, vicious circle. Mark Henry, the superintendent, is fully behind the woke agenda and has promoted it with his name literally on the document suggesting parents opt in for the anti-victimization instruction for their child. An opt-in option is a clue that the instruction is outside basic academic teaching and therefore outside the realm of responsibility of the school. Stay in your lane and focus on academic excellence. Why is Mark Henry rewarded for promoting and allowing a woke agenda, resulting in a serious decline in our district by having his name on this building? There is no way Mark Henry is worthy and deserving of the honor, nor is his legacy to remember going forward. Restore our district and vote for a full-time chaplain and remove Mark Henry's name. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Mark Golaby.
Dr. Henry, I understand you have suddenly become concerned about the data mining of Cy-Fair children through your Cy-Fair issued laptops. Interesting. You only became concerned after your granddaughter was data mined. Yet 2.5 years ago, your administration knew full well these Chromebooks were data mining our children. Why did you not care? Why did you not care if 117,999 students, right, get data mined? But wait, your granddaughter gets data mined and suddenly, hey, we got to do something. Really? That's how you approach your job? For 2.5 years, 117,999 Cy-Fair children, you were more than happy to throw under the bus and let them get data mined. Let that data go. Your administration didn't know where it is. When we had conversations about this 2.5 years ago, all right, they didn't know where the data, they didn't know what the questions were being asked. Your IT department could only have one answer, all right? It comes with the platform. It comes with the platform. What are the questions being asked? We don't know. Who collects the questions? We don't know. Where are they stored? We don't know, all right? That's on you. It's all on you. As you walk away from here, all right, that legacy will be part of you. You might also want to realize now that your district is full of filthy books. I don't know if you know that. Maybe you don't understand. Your granddaughter hasn't had to be forced to read one yet. Do we have to wait for that to happen? Do we have to have your granddaughter read a book about a grandfather molesting his grandchildren? Is that what it's going to take for you to look? Now, I don't like to criticize because I don't know what's acceptable in your home, and I get criticized a lot for trying to tell people, you know, how they should live in their home, okay? So I don't want to do that. You might be interested to know, all right?
Your time is up.
Good evening.
Our next speaker is Jennifer Sinnett.
That sure is a lot to follow. School boards are supposed to be nonpartisan, free from party affiliation and bias. All of that has unfortunately changed. The choice for our citizens in the election next month will be to either vote for a group of bipartisan individuals coming together for the good of the district, or to vote for a far-right extremist slate. The fans of the extremist slate call anyone who isn't far-right a Democrat. Please insert a big dramatic eye roll. My, how far we have fallen in this nation. For decades, members of Congress have worked together, often across the aisle. They were civil and mature. Some examples of bipartisan friendships include Reagan and Tip O'Neill, Kerry and McCain, Clinton and Bush, Obama and Bush, Orrin Hatch and Ted Kennedy, Biden and McCain. One of the more interesting duos was Supreme Court Justices Ginsburg and Scalia. They spent holidays together with their families and shared their mutual love of opera. Scalia was once quoted as saying, if you can't disagree ardently with your colleagues about some issues of law and yet personally still be friends, get another job, for Pete's sake. We can go from that quote to a recent one by school board candidate Todd LeCompte, who said, infiltrate and divide. Understand their tactics. The only way I know how to cure cancer is to cut it out. I certainly wouldn't want Todd as my oncologist. You can't always cut cancer out. Sometimes you need months of chemotherapy and/or multiple surgeries. Sometimes early detection is the key. Knowledge is power. Despite Todd being part of a slate, his campaign manager, Monica Dean, is actively campaigning for Aisha and DeMeo, and she was at yesterday's event with Lucas. Why isn't she campaigning for George Edwards? There is so much overlap and the blurring of lines. The citizens of CFISD need to know what this battle is about. Decent citizens, regardless of party affiliation, need to join together for the good of our district. Vote like the survival of the district depends on it, because it does. And I'm proud that Dr. Henry's name is on this building. And Aisha, you should not have been laughing and clapping about that. You don't deserve to be running for the board. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Danny Sale. Our next speaker is Nikki Coward.
Dr. Henry, President Jackson, and esteemed school board trustees, I serve as the proud president of the Cy-Fair AFT, and as you've heard tonight, the governor's special session began today. One of the highest priorities within our local union is to protect public education by blocking anything harmful to the students that we serve. We implore all stakeholders, and especially all school board members, to stand strong against vouchers or any other measures that further strips funding from our school districts. Like in many areas of the country, but especially in Texas, there has been a false narrative around failing schools. But we know the truth. The truth is our educators are helping our kids recover and thrive more than ever. The truth is the last few years have been very hard for both children and educators. We are in a climate where everything we do is often politicized and misrepresented. For those that want to portray teachers as bad, I don't know one teacher out there, not one, who's not trying their hardest to help our kids and close the gap the pandemic caused. Instead of banning books, demonizing educators, or censoring health curriculum, we must be committed to continue the real fight for Cy-Fair ISD. We are tired of the pro-voucher minority that has manipulated the term parent choice, because it sounds great, but it is not. It is anything but. It is very ugly. So while others continue their politically driven attacks against public ed, we stand together addressing learning loss, loneliness, and literacy challenges. And the majority of our union members are also parents and grandparents of our public school students. The two, parent choice and employee voice, are not separate forces working against each other. Again, we are one. And I will close with this. All Cy-Fair ISD employees are the largest ingredient and huge part of why we are a destination district, and this is why employee voice, whether in a superintendent search or a school board race, truly matters and can change the narrative for the kids that we serve.
I would like to thank everyone for being here tonight, and I would also like to thank those who are watching from home. May I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
Motion has been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, I call for a vote to adjourn the meeting. All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Holly, it's unanimous. We are adjourned.